What is going on, everyone? Misha Wilson here, coming at you for another episode of the Misha Wilson Show. As always, if you get value, if you're watching on Facebook, give me some comments, likes, hearts, and shares. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon notification button, and let me know what your biggest takeaway was from this video in the comment section below. I love reading each and every single comment. I try to reply to each and every single one as well. And today I'm going to be talking about why you need to embrace the suck, and most importantly, why you need to do it right now. Now, if this is the first video you're watching of myself, my name is Misha Wilson. Over the course of the last few years, I've done over $10 million in total sales online, and I've worked with literally thousands of students across the entire world, and I see this one thing hold so many people back. And so I wanted to cover it and make sure that you know how to overcome it and why you need to overcome it, and most importantly, do so right now. With that said, let's go ahead and dive right in. Welcome to the Misha Wilson Show, where we show you how to create massive success online so you can enjoy the lifestyle of your wildest dreams. So what I want to talk about here today is the concept of understanding and realizing that the first time you always do something, whatever it is you're doing, the first time it's going to suck. And oftentimes, even once you get good at something, the first draft of something that you're going to go ahead and do is going to go ahead and suck. And I was reminded of this. I actually listened to a lot of Rich Schefren, listened to an interview with Jay Abraham and Mike Dillard yesterday. Highly recommend the Mike Dillard podcast if you don't listen and tune in. And also was reminded through going ahead and working with a client recently. So hopped on a call with the client about a week ago and essentially put together a game plan, put together a roadmap for this client to go ahead and execute upon to start seeing results in their business. And I just listened to the various interviews with Rich Schefren and Jay Abraham, so it was fresh in my mind. But what I noticed in working with this client is that essentially each and every single time we get to the point where we had, the specific action step for that person to take in order to start seeing results with their business, or, not necessarily to start seeing results, but just to actually take action and start the process of taking action, there was hesitancy, there was fear, there was, this uncertainty around what the result would be, and a fear of failure and a fear of being embarrassed about the failure that kept the person from going ahead and taking action. And after about 15 minutes of outlining all the various tactics that needed to be executed upon, I quickly realized that the lack of tactics or, having the tactics wasn't necessarily the problem, but the core problem that we were dealing with was a mental block of not wanting to take action before they had everything just right, and really not wanting to take action that would inevitably, the first time at least, end up failing. And what that was causing was, constant analysis paralysis, constant information overload, going back to, instead of taking action, going and taking in more and more and more information, wanting to feel productive, taking in more information without ever actually doing anything, therefore getting more confused, more overwhelmed, more inundated with information, without ever actually getting results. And what we have to realize is this, and this is the lesson here today. We have to realize that no matter how skilled we are at something, usually sometimes there's certain skill sets you can reach a point of mastery with that you pretty much know that, the first time you do it, it's going to work. But very oftentimes, especially in the marketing game, you have to realize that everything's just kind of a test, right? We release sales funnels that bomb all the time. I've created sales funnels that have done $10 million plus in sales, and we still release sales funnels that do horribly. We release sales letters that completely and totally tank. I host webinar presentations that end up being too long and everyone hops off. I, do Facebook Lives just like this one and nobody watches. And the beautiful thing about marketing is that if you look at it through the lens of everything's a test, then really nothing's a failure, right? Because when things don't go exactly the way you want them to go, you don't need to label it a failure. You can just realize that all it was a test, and then take the data from the test and adjust moving forward. But more than anything with marketing, you have to realize that things are unpredictable. Things will go wrong. Things won't go just the way we planned. Usually the first time, it's going to suck. Rich Scheffner was talking about, the blank template in front of you as a copywriter. The worst thing to do is, essentially working on the first draft, because you know that no matter what, the first draft is not going to be good. But the only way you can ever get to the finished product that is actually good is through going through that phase and going through that first draft that invariably completely and totally sucks. And the truth of the matter is that never changes. No matter how much experience you have, no matter how many hours you've put in, no matter how many, practice runs you've gone ahead and done, the best of the best of the best of the best marketers in the world put out campaigns that completely and totally bomb. And the key is to put out the campaign, allow it to bomb, realize that it was probably going to bomb, and then from there, make the adjustments. Look at where you went wrong. Do I need to shorten the webinar? Do I need to tweak the story in the webinar? Do I need to tweak the offer? Where did people fall off? Understanding that just because it didn't work the first time doesn't mean it's not going to work long term. And also understanding that stepping into that first draft that invariably sucks and invariably isn't going to perform the way that you or I, wish it would, is the first step to success. Because the truth of the matter is that it's always going to suck the first time. And the key is to control the environment and to control the risk surrounding whatever it is you're doing that invariably is going to suck the first time. So should you do something, let's say you have a $5,000 advertising budget and we know that it's going to suck the first time we place an ad, we don't want to go and spend all of our $5,000 on one ad placement and bet the house and bet the entire advertising budget on that one thing, because if it goes wrong, then we're in trouble, right? That would be poor risk management. But what we do want to do is we want to test out a bunch of different ads, and we want to test out a bunch of different placements. We want to test out a bunch of different hooks, realizing that most won't work and most won't work and some will. And then from there, spread out the risk so that once we go ahead and spend that $5,000, we at least get the data back to be able to move forward. We have some sort of ROI, and we can then take, the winning ads, scale those ads up, make the 5K back, and continue to go from there. And so, look, while you shouldn't, go out, in the Wild West and say, look, it's going to suck the first time. I'm just going to completely and totally all in on this one ad campaign. It's going to suck, but I'm going to lose the money and I'm going to do it anyway, right? We don't want to approach it like that. But at the same time, we don't want to let the fact that invariably, inevitably, and predictably, the first time we do something, things aren't going to work out the way we wish they did. And if we can reverse the mindset and almost get to a point where we, in a weird kind of way, almost wish and hope for things to not go perfectly so that we can then get the data to improve and make things go perfectly. Then when we fail, then when we, quote unquote fail, I should say, then when we get that data back the first time, we almost feel good about it. We understand that was part of the process. We understand that was part of what essentially we wanted to have happen. And we can make the tweaks in order to have success. And the last thing I'll say is that when you do actually have success the first time, it's highly overrated, because where you learn lessons is not through success, you learn lessons through failures. And so when you post an ad and the first ad you post, it's successful, you have no clue why it was successful. Was it the ad? Was it the landing page? Was it the color of the landing page? Was it the setting of the ad? Was it the video sales letter? What was it that made it successful? And so then you're essentially locked in and caged to only doing that one thing exactly the way you did that one thing over and over and over again. Instead of if you actually post something, it doesn't do well, you can identify why it didn't do well, you can track and monitor why it didn't do well, and then you can take that principle and that tactic of here's why it didn't do well and apply it to all of your various ad campaigns to see, consistent improvement over a course of a period of time. It's infinitely more powerful. And so again, realize that no matter how much practice you have, no matter how many hours you've put in, no matter how many webinars you've hosted, sales letter you've written, Facebook Lives you've done, usually in marketing, there's always a period where you're going to have to test, refine, optimize, tweak, whenever you're doing something. And if you can get out of the habit of wishing that it would always go perfect each and every single time and get into the habit of realizing that, guess what? No matter what I do, the first time it's gonna suck, then it allows you to do that first thing, that first draft, get it out of the way that much faster. And the faster you get that first draft out of the way, the faster you get closer to being able to get to a successful result, which at the end of the day is what we need in order to grow a successful business. So embrace the suck right now, dive into the suck, and realize it's part of the process. And without it, we can never make improvements, we can never optimize, we can never find what's working. And as a result, once again, we lose valuable insight. So that's my message for the day. As always, if you're on Facebook, give me some comments, likes, hearts, and shares. If you got value, let me know in the comment section below what your biggest takeaway was. I love reading each and every single comment, and I try to reply to each and every single one as well. And if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon notification button to get notified whenever I do more videos just like this one. And until next time, over and out. Later, guys.